Hey everybody, this is Craig Cottle, Director of Nature Reliance School, and today for the Nature Reliance School online course, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at and show you some things about different pieces of rain gear. So I found a real opportunistic day where it's been raining off and on for 24 hours. I got a good steady rain for at least another 3 or 4 hours, and so I'm going to take a look at 3 specific pieces of rain gear and take them through some tests and show you what I like and don't like about each and every one of them. So I don't know how long this video is because there's not a whole lot of technical stuff that goes along with this topic. Plus, I don't want to have, I've got the camera set up inside my truck, and I guess you can see that. Basically what I'm going to do, if you can see behind me over there, there is a local walking trail here in the small community in which I live, and it's got both open area and close to the ground vegetation. A lot of bush honeysuckle and stuff like that, meaning that there's a lot of vegetation I would have to crash through and walk through. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. It's a walking trail, so I know the known distance, and just so we can get it out, basically what I'm going to do is I've got this first jacket, which is a Rothco Spec Ops jacket. I'm going to go over some of the details in the dance plan course, so if you haven't watched that, go ahead and make sure you check out the dance plan course. But what I'm going to do in this jacket is I'm going to put it on with a pack, my Everly Stock pack. My Everly Stock pack has a rain cover on it, and I'm going to walk for a mile with the rain cover on. I'm going to walk for a mile without the rain cover on. I mean without the pack on and all together, and see what kind of difference we get with this rain jacket. I'm going to do that with this jacket. I'm going to do that with another simple, really inexpensive rain jacket, and I'm also going to do it with a military poncho. So the first one is this Rothco Spec Ops jacket. And again, check out the dance plan course for the review on this particular jacket. I'm going to talk about all the specifics on it in the dance plan course. But what I'm going to do now is I've got my Everly Stock pack on. Got a rain cover on it. Check out the dance plan course for the rain cover I've got on this bag, and then I'm gonna head out now and walk for a mile in the rain. All right, so that's our first mile walking in the rain with a pack on. So what I found so far is, and I wear this jacket a lot, what I found so far is that my shirt, and I've got 3 different shirts, so I can put on a different shirt with each one of these rain jackets. My shirt is soaking wet. So I'll go ahead and get this off so you can see what I'm seeing. It's kind of hard trying to make sure I do this and not get the camera and the microphone wet, but I can't. I've got a light gray, and I was hoping it would show up better on camera, and again, it's difficult having this thing sit up in my truck. But this particular shirt is soaking wet. Now here's what I hypothesize, and this is how you can tell, is that I can suck on that shirt and find out if that's rainwater or sweat, because I know what my own sweat tastes like. And if you don't know what your own sweat tastes like, you need to exercise more. But with that said, this shirt is not soaked from the rain, but rather it is soaked from my sweat within the jacket. Now, what I did not do on purpose, just to see what it would do, is I've got the sleeves tied up really tight to where they can't breathe at all. I have no way, my arms are wet. And what I've also got that I didn't utilize are these pit zips. These pit zips are there, basically armpits zips are there to ventilate some of the air off of you when you start getting really hot. Now what I did do on this one is, as you noticed, I didn't wear the hood up. The beauty of this particular jacket is that it's designed where you could wear the hood up over a helmet. And so if I was wanting to wear this over my infantry helmet or something of that nature, military helmet, I could, or a climbing helmet or bicycle helmet or something of that nature. It would work very well for that. The problem with this is that when you wear the hood, it holds in a tremendous amount of moisture and heat to your body, and so what you run into is a lot of moisture being hung up in there. So usually what I do on a jacket like this that affords it is that I'll wear the jacket where it zips up all the way to my neck. Okay, so the beauty of this is that, as you can see, again, check out the dance point course. Oops, there's my microphone. This is hard to do, you all. I'm just telling you, I've never done this before, trying to deal with the rain and everything. So this zips all the way up to your neck, and so unless you've got rain that's running down your neck, you're going to have a problem. Now, I purposely did not wear a boonie hat today because I wanted to see what would happen to my head and water hitting my face and running through my beard and down my neck and everything. So my neck is really not that particularly soaking wet. It's just around my chest and stuff of that nature where I was sweating considerably. So what I also want to do in this jacket is I'm going to go over there and I'm going to crawl through the mud in this thing so you can see some of the things that come up with that. So guys and gals, what I've done here is I've walked through a bunch of this high fescue. It's about waist high, so my pants are soaking wet, my shoes are soaking wet, and I've got my microphones where it's covered everything, but I'm going to crawl through this mud, and there's some things that I want to bring out about these different rain jackets so we can see them on camera. So basically, if I am in the mud, and that's only a short little drag, there's some things that come out about this jacket that I really like. Number one, it's tough. It has these extra elbow pads on it so that if you're crawling through rocks, brush, a lot of wear and tear is going to happen on the joints, on the knee, on the elbows, then they are double protected there. So if I have the pit zits open like I did on this one, I'm going to get mud and stuff in the pit. So it's one of those things that's a very versatile jacket. I have the ability to open the pit zips to ventilate. I also have the extra padding. It's not necessarily padding as much as it is stronger Cordura that's on there so that it'll take the abrasion of me crawling through brush, walking through brush, crawling on the ground, anything of that nature, basically walking through life itself. And then it holds up to that. I wear this jacket all the time. Obviously this is my favorite jacket, but here's the problem. I do sweat in it. It doesn't breathe at all. It also has a fleece liner that zips in for cold weather. So basically this is a jacket I take everywhere with me. I take this jacket and a fleece liner. So if it gets cold, I basically got a coat I can put on. It's wind resistant. If I put the fleece liner on it and I sweat, the water will go into the fleece, but the fleece will continue to insulate. Okay, so in a situation like this right here, where I've just got a cotton t-shirt on underneath here, then what's going to happen is that cotton's going to soak up that moisture and hold it. And so if the fleece holds it up or soaks it up, then it's going to help to continue to insulate me even if it is wet, whereas cotton will not. Very important thing to consider. So what I've got on now is I put on another t-shirt, and you've seen me in this t-shirt before. This is a big shout out to my good friends in the Special Response Unit down at Memphis Fire. They gave me this t-shirt when I went down and taught them some survival and tracking things. But this jacket that I'm utilizing now is a Frog Togs. Okay, this is a real popular brand. I think fishermen are the ones that really got this more popular than anything because it packs up really small. It's incredibly lightweight. It's basically Tyvek wrap. If you know what Tyvek wrap is, it's basically house wrap. So supposedly it's breathable. It is also such that it's incredibly lightweight. Now, the thing that is different about this one, it doesn't have pit zips. It doesn't have pockets. It is literally nothing more than a rain cover. It's got a hood. It does have the ability to zip it all the way up without utilizing the hood, or you can use the hood. If you needed to utilize this hood with a helmet, there's no way you could get a helmet underneath of this hood. Now, I didn't mention, I don't think, on the last one. I probably did in the dance planks course, but you should get a rain jacket that has a zipper as well as a button flap, basically a storm flap that covers up the zipper. Because if you just have a zipper on top, then basically rainwater is going to always go through that zipper. There's no way of making a completely waterproof zipper. Just by design, they can't do it. So basically what you've got here is the ability to have a storm flap over top of the rain jacket itself. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my ruck on again. I'm going to walk a mile in the Frog Togs with the backpack on, and then we'll see what comes up. So here we go. So all right, you all, that's another mile. Whew, getting tired. Slogging around in this rain. Frog Togs is what I had on this time. And I feel really hot. But I don't feel any hotter than I did in the other jacket, that's for sure. But it doesn't feel like I'm nearly as wet as I was before. Yeah, I'm definitely not as wet as I was before. So Frog Togs kept me just as dry from the rain. It's not raining near as hard as it was before when I was wearing the Spec Ops jacket. And when I say Spec Ops, it's just a name. That doesn't mean that it's worn by special operators, okay? It's just a name given to it. It gives it a cool factor, okay? I didn't name it. So these Frog Togs are a bit more breathable, that's for sure, because I'm not nearly as wet as I was. My arms are a little sweaty, but not as much as they were. My chest, my t-shirt is not nearly as wet as it was. So you're probably starting to see a pattern of what I'm getting to, because I've worn all of these jackets and I've worn the poncho that I'm gonna wear next in a lot of awkward environments, and so I'll make a summation at the end. But basically, in essence, in this jacket, I'm not nearly as wet as I was. I feel hot though. I've always felt hot wearing these Frog Togs. I don't know what it is. I leave this all the way open to vent out, and typically I'll have a boonie hat on to keep rain from falling down into the collar of my jacket. But this one has done really well. So what I'm going to wear next is the basic military poncho, and we'll see how it turns out. So the next thing we've got is a basic military poncho, and the thing that is different about it is that you wear it over top of your ruck, and so you don't necessarily need a rain protector just for your pack. In essence, you can see the poncho is big enough that it goes over top of my pack. Now, the thing about these, I've done a video on how to waterproof these, because this is one of those items that it has a silicone cover on it to help make it rain protected. It doesn't mean it's waterproof, okay? So you have to regularly either soak a army poncho in some silica gel or something of that nature, or spray it down with some that you can buy. Now, I did a video on that. It's either on the Dan's Depot or Nature Reliance School YouTube page. So check it out and you can see how I do that. But we'll check this one out for another mile and see how it does. So here we go with the poncho. Cutting through this brush on this one. About lost my microphone in the process. So this is what we got on this thing. I'm almost dry. I've got a little bit of sweat on me from wearing the poncho, but what I did not do on purpose that I could do is easily just throw this up and over me to ventilate whenever I felt like I was getting hot. And I say that because I have actually done that a lot. This is basically what I wear when I go deer hunting. Not bow hunting, but if I'm going to be shooting a rifle. Because basically you can sit on the ground, sit in a tree stand, you can even stalk. I don't recommend stalking in this thing because it's really loud. But you can put your weapon underneath the poncho with you and it stays dry. And when you start getting hot again, you just ventilate like I just demonstrated. So with that said, if we take a look at the variables of, well, I'll tell you what, let me get this off and I'll break down everything that I've done so far and also add my thoughts from basically a lifetime of using different rain gear. So this is my shirt with the Army poncho. What you'll notice is that it's only sweaty. I mean, it's only wet where I've sweated. This is where the shoulder straps were against me. This is where I sweat against my chest. So I hope that explains something to you. So here's the deal. In order, we had the Spec Ops jacket from Rothko, we had the Frog Togs, and then we had a military poncho. So as far as a 1 mile hike, and that's the only thing that we're considering right now, without a doubt, the Army poncho kept me drier, okay? Now, what I didn't demonstrate is, because I was tearing this up, and this is public land, I didn't want to tear it up anymore, and I had to, is if I had crawled in the Frog Togs jacket, or if I crawled in the Army poncho, we would have ran into some trouble. So my son and I taught one of the most miserable classes we've ever taught as far as weather is concerned. It rained like a deluge down in Paducah, Kentucky for some folks that we taught a primitive survival class for. And I'm talking, the moment we showed up on the scene, it started raining as hard. I can't tell you how many inches of rain we had over the weekend. And we had taken our Frog Togs with us, pants and jackets. And by midday on Saturday, and what I mean by that is he and I weren't doing the exercises as much as the people in the class. We were demonstrating the stuff, and we were getting in there and helping them, because that helps better our skills for sure. But we weren't doing as much work as they were, and our pants ripped basically on Saturday morning. I mean, basically we only had them on a couple hours and they'd already ripped, just by getting hung up in a briar or, you know, a greenbrier bush or something of that nature. Those Frog Togs rip really easily. Now, the guys that wear ponchos, they're great if you're not going to move around and you don't have to do a lot of work in. So if you're wearing a poncho and you have to go through a lot of brush, you're going to get hung up on it. Now, it's not going to rip like the Frog Togs because it's made out of ripstop. Almost all of them are, unless you buy some real cheap knockoff brand. So get the ripstop if you're going to get a poncho. But what we found is it's really hard to comfortably work wearing a poncho. Now, you can do some fine tasks. Basically, you can throw the poncho up over your head and just wear it like a little teepee and do some work underneath the poncho, like if you're cutting up fire sticks or feather sticks or something of that nature, working on a bow drill set even, something that I've done that several times under a poncho. Works really well for that because the materials that are underneath of the tarp shelter it from the weather. So frontiersmen that came into this country, they would have these canvas tarps. They would basically wear the same way, not necessarily exactly the same way. It didn't have a hole cut in the middle of them, but they would wear it around their body, and then they would do work right directly underneath of their body, basically using the tarp as a mini teepee in essence. And so a poncho is a real useful tool for that. The benefit of having a poncho is that you can just throw it over your pack. You can set it up as a shelter. You can wear it. You can do so many other things with it that you can't do with some simple jacket. Okay, so tourniquets and litters and shelters and rafts and any number of things that I've done on camera for you guys with an Army poncho are things that you can do with an Army poncho. So with that said, I highly recommend having a poncho in your kit. I hope you see why. Or a tarp. It doesn't matter if it's a poncho, as long as it's a ripstop tarp. You know, the guys at Dan's Depot were selling, I don't know if they're going to continue selling them or not, but we're trying to work with a manufacturer to come up with a fantastic, even better tarp than what we already had. There's a lot of supplies out there that you can get different variations of, and it doesn't really matter who the manufacturer is, okay? So that's why I've shown so many different knives, because you can get a good knife, and you can get China-made knives that'll work, and you can get real good, solid, made-in-the-USA knives that'll work even better. Now, a tarp, most of the stuff that's out there is not ripstop, and it's really cheap. And so if you're going to get one, I recommend military poncho. As far as crawling, working, doing scout tactics, stuff like that, where you're basically going to be on the move and in essence fighting, if you had a rifle with you, handgun, or something of that nature, poncho is just incredibly problematic. Wearing a special ops jacket like I showed before is going to be your best bet. You want to get some sort of form-fitting jacket or something of that nature. Even the Frog Togs is going to be better than a poncho in that regard. So it's just basically what it is that your needs are that will determine which one of the things that I've recommended here and showed you on camera that you should get for your needs, okay? If you're wanting to do a lot of work, then you want to get a Frog Togs jacket or a Spec Ops jacket. If you're not going to be doing a lot of work and you just want to set up shelter and set up something that can get you out of the weather, then I highly recommend a military poncho, and I think you see why. I mean, I basically came out of that 1 mile hike in the rain. I ended up walking through a bunch of brush and stuff of that nature, and basically came out of it almost completely dry. The only thing that was wet on me was where I sweated. So you can imagine if I was just sitting still and utilizing that, I would stay completely dry. And so I hope that comes out at you. Now, with that said, I hope that gives you a good idea of what you can and can't do with rain gear. I'm not sure how this is going to play out in time, so if I've cut you a little short than the 30 minutes that I usually do, I apologize. But it's real simplistic, the information. I didn't want to go into and make up a bunch of details I didn't really need to make up, so I hope that makes sense to you. So appreciate you joining us for Nature Reliance School Online. And if you've enjoyed this lesson, then please tell your friends about it and get more people on there. The more people we have in Nature Reliance School Online, the more time I can dedicate to it. So I really appreciate everybody following us. Tell your friends about it. Hope you recommend it to them. Give us a thumbs up on the video. Although these videos are not public, a lot of people are not going to see them, but those that come in after you and see them will really appreciate that. So come on, join in and let's get wet together.